Okay.
All right. Hi everyone. So I finally got around to making a video of how I make my sauce in this great big roaster. So I will post this. You can tell it's like old school written down um, directions, but this is, I think it's just the best homemade sauce. So I was fortunate to get a whole bunch of tomatoes from my sister and her mother-in-law. They have this awesome garden out on their farm in Ohio. Um, they do sell some produce in their store. They also have the best steaks, ground meat. If anyone is looking for some good meat, go to jandgbeef.com. I can put that link below so you guys can check it out. But they uh, grew all these tomatoes and peppers and sent them my way. So I cut up a whole bunch of tomatoes. They are in here. As you can see, they have the skins on. Don't take the skins off. It makes it so easy to make tomato sauce. One of these big roasters gets me probably 10 jars, 10 mason jars of sauce. And then some left over to like have for dinner that night. So I picked up, I didn't want you to have to see me doing all the cutting, but so in here we have a bunch of tomatoes, onion, sweet peppers. The recipe technically calls for three to four small hot peppers. My family's not real crazy about hot stuff, so I personally only put in one or two hot peppers, and it just gives it enough flavor. But so, like I said, in here we have our tomatoes with the skins on. We have sweet peppers and onions. So normally, depending on the time of year, I will have my own garlic. This year, I don't. So I guess you could say I'm cheating because I bought garlic. But you need 2 heads of garlic, which I usually just do a couple big um, spoonfuls, and that, you know, is more than enough garlic. Then you need a cup of olive oil. So get my olive oil in here. And then, like I said, I already have my tomatoes, my peppers, my onions, hot peppers, all of that is in there. And I personally don't start this until the evening. So I will wait until before I go to bed tonight. Probably about the time I put the kids in bed, about 8:30, 9 o'clock. I will plug this roaster in and put it on 200 degrees. And I will cover it with this lid, and it will cook all night long, and we will pick up there in the morning. I'm sure I will have even more lovely hair than what I do now, so no judging. It'll be early in the morning, so I use an immersion blender, and I will show you guys how we take this after cooking for 8 hours into some serious delicious sauce. So good morning. We are on, I guess you could say, day 2 of what everything looks like. Now I did unplug the roaster because I have the immersion blender plugged in. But this is what everything looks like cooked down. Everything's very soft. Now there is an option to use a blender if you don't have an immersion blender, but I find this so much easier because I don't have to take anything out of the roaster. But I am gonna put in all the other ingredients. Some people prefer to use the immersion blender on this part first before they put everything else in, but I like everything really mixed together. I don't like to see big chunks of basil or anything like that. Actually, it's probably more my kids, but anyway, so we're gonna start. So the recipe calls for 8 small cans of tomato paste. I personally use 6. I don't like my sauce super thick, but this is kind of the trick to getting everything to thicken up nicely. So we're gonna put those in here, and this is another reason I like to do the immersion blender second. I like to put all this in and then just have it really mix nicely. Now, obviously I don't make my own tomato paste, but you could if that's your thing. I have not ventured out and tried that yet, so if buying tomato paste classifies me as not being fully homemade, then I guess so be it. But all right, so our tomato paste is in. We need olive oil, which I prefer to put my basil in olive oil, and I refrigerate this. So I harvest my basil as long as I can. And in order to keep it fresh, I put it in olive oil and keep it, olive oil and salt, and keep it in the fridge. But I like fresh basil in here, so I mix those together. Then you need a cup of sugar, and you have to keep in mind this is a cup of sugar for what will most likely be 10 or 11 jars of sauce. So really not too much sugar considering. All right, we need a half a cup of salt. And then I already put my basil in. We need a 1/4 of a cup of oregano. One tablespoon black pepper. And 10 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese. Some people add the cheese later. I put everything in at one time and just get it done. Now for this part, I will start the immersion blender and then we will pause and I'll come back once I have everything blended because I don't want you guys to have to listen to it. right, so this is what we have after I ran the immersion blender for a while. You just want to keep going until you get, you know, no more soft pieces of tomato or onion, pepper. Gave it a good stir, and we are gonna cover it, and it will cook like this. I put it on not quite 200, and it will cook like this until probably 6 o'clock tonight, and then I will start putting it in jars to can, and we'll have some for dinner.